Hello and welcome back to my channel, Cards by Melissa Minor. Today I'm going to be using a sketch from this Facebook group called Stick It Down. And they have several sketches here posted, and each month they have some new sketches. So this top one here is a double page layout. Then this middle one, I'm going to be using this one today. So I like that it has like the 4 squares and then a title there in the center. And so that's the one I'm going to use today. And then here's also a card sketch. So these are their July sketches, and you can follow along and post your layouts in their group. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now I am using the paper pack from, this was a Close to My Heart branded paper pack, but Stampin' Up sold it. So I went ahead and cut 4 squares, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then these are the pictures that I want to scrapbook today. These are of my daughter Tatum and her friend Emily, and they were at church camp, and these are quite old. These are from 2019, but I had this paper and I thought it went perfect. I hadn't scrapbooked these pictures. So I think what I want to do is put the 3 pictures in 3 of the squares, and then the bottom square I think I'll journal. So I'm using this Peartree Cutfile Go Explore. And this is from the July Pearscription. And so with my Pearscription, it already comes pre-cut for me. They have 2 different options. They have a digital option, or you can choose to have them pre-cut and mailed. And so I got the pre-cut option, and it is wonderful. They also send the center of the letters, so it makes it real easy to back your cut file. So what I'm doing first here is I'm just taking a little bit of my refillable dot runner, and I am gluing these inside of these letters to a piece of cardstock, or a piece of pattern paper rather, that I want to back my cut file with. Of course, I ran out of tape adhesive, but it is refillable, so I had to refill that real quick. So I'm making sure that I want to use the back side of this paper, although this is gorgeous with the oars and it would be perfect for my paper. But the other side is some waves with just a little hint of blue. And so I'm gluing my letters backwards. And then I like to use these small precision scissors from scrapbook.com and just trim around my letters, just leaving a little bit so that I can glue it down. Now it looks like I had to trim off a little bit more here, but that was pretty easy to do. And so I'm going to finish just trimming this up, flipping it over to the back side of my cut file. I'm going to get a little bit of liquid adhesive here, and I'm going to stick this down to my cut file. So let's take a look here. Get that pressed down, and I got a little bit more to trim. And there, I think that's going to look really good. Now, once I glued that down, I realized, oh my goodness, I wanted to ink the cut file. So since I had just stuck it down, it was easy to just pull off. And so I set it to the side, and I'm using some ink called Rainy Day. It's a scrapbook.com ink with my foam, or with my domed ink dauber here. And I just put a little bit of that Rainy Day gray ink on my cut file just to give it a little different look. So here's my L that I had peeled off. I'm just going to go ahead and stick it right back down. I have my cut file flipped over to the back side. I'm giving that a good press. And it looks like I got one more little piece to trim here. And I love the way that looks. It's hard to see here, but that paper does have some little waves on it. And so I thought that would be really cute to scrapbook these photos. So you can see here I have the R cut out, and so I'm going to go ahead and put the R in place on the cut file. And then there is just this little piece of the inside of the R. So I got ready to stick that down, put the glue on it, and then realized, oh no, I forgot the ink. So I'm going to ink that up, and just so it matches the cut file. And then we'll just put that in place. So that looks good. And then I'm not going to do all of these on camera. Most of these I will do off camera, but I am showing you that I've cut the letters out, and I'm just sticking them onto the cut file. So there we go. That looks good. So let me get my pictures back in place. Now, I wanted the picture of my daughter in the boat in the upper right-hand corner. She's facing in, so I wanted to put that one over there. And then the other ones really weren't that directional, so it didn't matter with those. And then I'm putting my cut file down here. I don't have the center backed, and I'm trying to decide what color of paper, if I want to use the same with the waves or if I want to bring in a different color. And ultimately I decide that I do want to use that wave paper, just so that it matches. I think that'll look good. So to do the O, because I didn't receive the inside of this one with my Pearscription. So for this one, I'm just flipping it over onto a piece of pattern paper, and I'm just taking a pencil and I'm just tracing around that so I know where to cut. And then I will go ahead and bring in my scissors and just trim this out. Now I'm trimming it here and I'm leaving a little bit of the edge around the circle because I was thinking I was doing like the letters, but I'm going to end up having to redo this. So since I traced it, I want to actually cut directly on the line or just a hair inside the line so that it can fit on there. And so here's where I'm going to realize that I kind of made a mistake here. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not going to fit. So I'll just save you a little trouble here. And if you're tracing a cut file, you want to make sure that you cut right along that line so that it matches up exactly. So it's not hard here. I'm just going to finish trimming that out. And so when I'm doing this, instead of moving my scissors, you can see here that I'm moving the paper versus moving the scissors, and that just allows me to get a better cut for these cut files. All right, so I'm going to bring in my Artis liquid craft glue and just put a little glue on the back of this, and then we'll get the center stuck down, and then my cut file will be complete. So I'm having so much fun using these cut files. This is my first month subscribing to the Pearscription, and I absolutely love it. So one thing I wanted to mention too is you'll notice in my pattern paper when I glued it down, those 4 squares, I have the fish going one direction on the top, and then on the bottom I flipped the direction of the fish. I thought that was kind of cute. All right, and so I have my cut file here, and let me just get my pictures put back into place to see how I want to arrange these. And I'm trying to decide if I want to overlap the cut file onto the pictures, and I don't think I do. So I'm going to go ahead and put my dotted refillable tape runner on the back of these. Now, I did cut my pictures out in 3x3, and then I left a little bit of a white border. I do print it home on my Picturemate 400, and so I went ahead and left the white border on there, and then I cut a piece of 3.5 by 3.5 piece of pattern paper to back each of these photos. And it's hard to see in the photo, but the paper that I backed these photos with, it has a little bit of like netting, and so it looks really cute. And let's see, that was 3.5 by 3.5, and then I distressed the edges of all of those. All right, now I'm bringing in these foam adhesive strips from scrapbook.com, and these are 1/8 of an inch wide, and I usually use these on shakers, but they are perfect, I found out, to back these cut files just because they are the perfect width. They're so skinny, they're so narrow, and so it allows you to really get in on the back of these letters. I don't want my cut file to sag when I put the foam on it, so this allows me, these small strips allows me to get right in there and put as many pieces as I need to, but it fits on the back of the letters just perfectly. So I'm showing you that I finished that up off camera. I've peeled back the release papers, and now it's time to go ahead and put the title down. So I think that looks really good. There's a little bit of that blue color in the upper left-hand corner, that square up there. Some of those words, they're all like lake words, boat ride, things like that. It has a little bit of blue. So now I have some embellishments, and it's time to embellish the page. And I have these in my stack and sort tray. And I've just picked a few that I think I'm going to use on the page. These came in that kit. It was on the sticker sheet actually. And actually, I got the scrapbook kit, I guess, from Stampin' Up. And this is one of the little pieces. that came in that scrapbook kit, like on the extra sheet. So I used that foam adhesive strip again, and I put that back on the back of this hexagon, and I really want to frame that picture in the upper right hand corner because that's the one of my daughter by herself. So since I put a hexagon there on the right hand square, I want to bring the hexagon around. So I put a little hexagon in the upper left hand corner, and then I have this little journaling spot and this sticker. Now I have taken the stick off of all my stickers. I use a little powder tool, and so I did that off camera, but that allows me to move the stickers around more like die cuts. So I love that powder tool for that. You just brush it on the back. And so now I can just move them around. So that's why I'm putting adhesive on all of the stickers and things, because I've already taken the stick off of them. So I'm going to use that little, you'll see I also did ink the edges of the little journaling spot and also this sticker off camera. And I didn't mention, but in the middle going across my 4 squares, I have a zip strip, or that's like the branding strip that comes on the paper. And I did go ahead and put that across the center. I like that it had those little trees on it. And since there's trees in the background of the bottom left-hand photo, I thought that that would look nice. Now the quality isn't the greatest on my photos, and that's probably why I hadn't scrapped them until now. But I decided they're just too cute, and I'm okay that they're a little bit grainy and kind of blurry photos. You know, it was 2019. That was a long time ago. But I still think they're super cute. So I did also bring in this little chipboard cattail and put that over my journaling spot. I popped up the sticker, and now I have this little heart hexagon that I'm going to put in the upper right hand corner. And then I want to bring in this little tab and put the date on here. But I'm scrolling through my date stamp, and this is a new date stamp that I got from Amazon. And I'm scrolling through here, and I'm realizing that it doesn't have 2019. I think the earliest that it has is 2023. And so I'm still scrolling thinking that I'm gonna get something, and it's not there. And so I'm gonna have to get creative. I really want to use this date stamp. It's new, and I really wanted to use it on this tab. So I realized that I can put the July, and because it was July, and instead of putting the date, like it was July 25th, I believe, July 25th, 2019, I'm going to mask off with a little bit of my tape here. I'm going to mask off the year and use the day for the year. And so I'm just testing it here on a piece of scrap, and I think that's going to work okay. There's where I realized that I got ink on the date or on the year, and I didn't clean it off. And so I'm going to have a little mishap here, but I'm still trying to decide if I like it or not. And I do, but I should have cleaned my stamp. So I did go ahead and stamp it, and now I got a little bit of black ink. So I'm using this rub and remove eraser. It usually removes glue, but it also sometimes removes ink. Now I did use that VersaFine Clear ink, and that is a really thick ink, so it didn't remove it all the way, but you can't really see it. So I think it did its job. And then I realized that the U in the July was not quite together, so I did use my Le Pen and fix that and fix the date. So I think it looks good. I do need a hexagon over in this bottom left corner, so I found this little sticker, and it has some trees, so that gives me a hexagon in all 4 of the corners now. All right, so I do have this little cattail, and I kind of want to put it somewhere on the layout, and I was thinking maybe behind the Go Explore, but I'm going to audition it in a few other places just to see if I like it better anywhere else. And I do think I like it here behind the title. It kind of draws your eye across the page with having the cattail up here and then the cattail down where the journaling is. So I think that really just helps draw your eye across the page with those repeating elements. So just in case I decide to change my mind, I am using my tape runner because I know that I can lift up if I need to. but I'm going to go ahead and stick it down, and it does stay here, but I was undecided when I first stuck it down. Okay, so here's where I'm realizing that that hexagon, it's looking a little embellishment heavy on the left-hand side of the page. So I decided to move that hexagon over to the right-hand side of the photo. Now I did want to put some, I did put a little bit of foam tape on the back there, and then I used some twine to finish that off. I don't like to leave my tags naked. If there's a hole in the tag, I like to put some twine in it. And now I'm bringing in some of these Concord and 9th gold enamel dots, and I will just sprinkle them in a few places around the page. And to finish it off, I like the gold here, just that little pop of color, and it kind of mixes, you know, like with the brown, so I thought the gold went best. So I'm just trying to decide where else I want to add these little gold enamel dots. These are my favorite gold enamel dots, and they're really sticky too, so you don't have to add any extra adhesive. They stick really well. All right, so the last thing I need to do is complete my journaling. So I did that off camera. It says Tatum at Camp Jaota with Emily, age 9. So that wraps up this video. If you've enjoyed this process video, please hit that like button and leave me a comment down below. I love reading your comments. Thank you so much for all the kind things you say. I will have product links listed down below, and I appreciate any time you shop my links, as that does help support me and my YouTube channel. I'll have still shots over on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!